Hey now everybody, this is Professor Eilen. Today we're talking a little bit more about critical perspectives, critical approaches, and today we're discussing gay, lesbian, and queer theory. This also includes transgender theory. Like feminist criticism, queer theory translates a work from a specific perspective, and in this case it translates a work from the perspective of the homosexual, gay, transgender community and how they would respond to a particular work. On the surface of it, obviously, this would be applied to how a work that involves gender identity, involves sexual identity, would be translated by someone within the gay community. And certainly, you would look at the work and translate it from that viewpoint about how homosexuals are treated and portrayed, and also whether or not the author is making an editorial point in terms of the morality or goodness or likability of a gay character. Certainly within not even that long ago history, but certainly within history, the portrayal of homosexuals as a kind of go-to deviant for a character to explain their otherwise irrational behavior was common enough, and today's not only acceptance but incorporation of the homosexual lifestyle into various mainstream works as a mainstream character is changing the way that that gay and lesbian and transgender characters are going to be perceived and written about. But at the same time, much of the material that you're going to read is much older than that, and certainly queer theory will have a different perspective on something than, say, a standard cultural perspective from a more mainstream group. The other way that queer theory also applies is to look at a work that has nothing to do with gender, nothing to do with sexual identity, and to find parallels to the existence of somebody living within the story that also parallels someone living an often closeted or hidden life, especially in a hostile environment. For example, your standard superhero often lives in the public as a well-respected figure who follows the rules and fits in perfectly, Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne and Peter Parker and all these other people. And then what they do is they reveal their true nature in specific situations that allow them to do this in a way that nobody recognizes who they are. And certainly from a queer perspective, the writer, you would look at this and say, you know, the translation is that this is exactly how the homosexual, the lesbian, the transgender person has to live their life. They have to live a straight life, and then under certain circumstances they're allowed to really be who they are, to show whatever hidden power or hidden secret that they have under specific conditions. And again, you know, when you're reading, you know, Batman or something like that, or seeing a movie, it's not written about a gay character, but certainly the idea of living two lifestyles, one hidden from the rest of society and the other one as a bit of a shield, as a way to get acceptance, is something that is standard in queer theory, in translating from the lesbian, gay, transgender perspective. Utilize this using secondary sources that discuss the world and politics and things like that from homosexual writers who explain what it's like to live in that society. You may find direct analysis from homosexual and gay and lesbian transgender writers to particular works. That might be helpful, but understanding that when you're writing about this, the same way with any cultural criticism, the same with feminist criticism, you're translating the work from the viewpoint that you as a writer are taking on the mantle of that belief system, and you're going to translate the work and say, this is how this particular group would translate this work under discussion. Okay? Stay in touch.